Good morning, Penguin Party, and thank you so much for joining us here today at the Aquarium of the Pacific for our Winter Kids Club. And guess what, Penguin Party? What do you think we're going to be learning about today? Penguins. So we're going to be talking all about penguins today. We're going to be talking about some penguins, like these Magellanic penguins that live here at the aquarium, and also some other penguins that live on different parts of the planet. So if today, friends, if you do have any questions, any observations that you want to share with us, I definitely invite you to do so. We do have a live text line that you can use, and you can see that number right there on the screen. That number is 562-286-1838. So you can use this text line in real time. Like that, I can talk about the things that interest you and different things like that. But if you are watching this program after it airs live, so after the 3rd of January, after around 10:30 in the morning, you can still send in your questions and observations, but instead of using this live text line, you're going to want to use this email. That email is live@lbaop.org. This just helps us ensure that we can still answer your questions in a timely manner since we are not always at this text line. But fortunately, this morning we are at this text line, so feel free to send in any of those questions like that. I can talk about the things that you are interested in. But I am definitely very, very excited to talk about penguins today, friends. So I stepped off of the screen because I want us to just look at what our penguins are doing. These are our penguins that live here at the aquarium. So, like I mentioned, they are a Magellanic penguin. We have 21 of these penguins that live here. And what we're looking at right now, we're looking at these live cameras that are within their exhibit. So, with those cameras, you can constantly see what's going on. You can see them at night, which I'm going to say it's really dark and grainy because it's dark outside, but you can see their exhibit. Or you can see them first thing in the morning. So, this is our penguins in the morning. They're fairly active and hanging around the window. So, it's making me very curious as to what might be on the other side. And then you can see them during the middle of the day, during their feeds. So, if you ever want to access any of our live cameras, I do want to say they are available through our aquarium website because we have a few different cameras around the aquarium for the animals. But this one is our penguin one. We have an above water view, which is what we're looking at right now, and then an underwater view. But we can see some penguins. They're kind of hanging out. They're swimming around. But I want to give you a couple of seconds to make some observations. But I also want to pose a question to you is, what even is a penguin? What type of animal is a penguin? So I'm going to give you a second to think about that question. You can also make some observations. You can write them down if you want. If you're watching this program with someone, you can talk to them. You can just think it in your brain. You can talk to your plant, anything like that. But again, what is a penguin? So, what are some things that you notice about the penguin? What do you notice on its body? What body parts does it have? Because let's see if we can figure these things out. So, to start off, is what do penguins have covering their bodies? What is all over their bodies? I'm going to give you a second to think about it, and we'll look at another penguin picture. So like that we can get a closer look, because it might be a little bit hard to see them in the water. Ooh, so here we have one of our other Magellanic penguins. So what do you see all over this penguin's body right here? Those are feathers, right? So penguins have feathers. They look a bit different than other feathers on birds, right? They're very tightly packed. They can be a little bit densely packed in there, but penguins do have feathers. What are some other birds, some other animals that have feathers? So, some other animals that have feathers are birds. I gave it away in my sentence. But animals like ducks or pigeons that you may have seen. Seagulls. There we go. My friend Amanda put up a picture of a seagull right now. So, lots of different animals have feathers, right? Specifically, what animals though? Birds. And I want to show you on my Explorer camera though what these penguin feathers look like nice and close because they look a little bit different than how they look on their body. So here, I put a few out and just look at these feathers right here. And let me fix this lighting for us. It's kind of bad. So let me see. Okay, I think This is a little better. And let me zoom in so you can look at these feathers. Is this what you imagine these feathers to look like on the penguins? When I first started working here at the aquarium and I would see the penguins through the glass, they look kind of stiff. I've had some guests even tell me here at the aquarium that the penguins look kind of oily, they look greasy, they look like they don't shower. But penguin feathers, I want to say, friends, are actually a lot softer than they look. Let's focus in on just one feather and we can take an even closer look as to how feathery this feather really is. Because look at those little structures right there. You can see it looks so, so soft. And then when the penguins are really nice and dry, you can see those soft feathers all over their bodies. Why do you think feathers are important to animals like penguins? Hmm. It helps them stay warm. So it helps them stay really nice and warm because sometimes they'll be in cold water or sometimes when it's winter time, these feathers will be really, really important. And we'll talk more about feathers and why they're so important. But okay, so far we have noticed that penguins have feathers. So I'm starting a little list of things that we notice. So far on my list, I have the word feathers because we're trying to figure out what in the world is a penguin. So let's go back to one of these penguin pictures and we can see what else we can notice. Ooh, so this is a different type of penguin. I want to say this is a king penguin. So king penguins, also another type of penguin, like I said, you can see the feathers all over their bodies. What are some other things that you notice? What are they doing right now? Let's pose like a king penguin. They're going like, whoo, whoo, they're stretching their wings. So even though penguins can't fly, they do still have wings. So those wings are the nice stretched out ones. It's like if these penguins just woke up, they're like, whoo, time for me to get my day started. So yeah, they can't fly, but they do have wings. Huh. So far we know penguins have feathers. Penguins have wings. Do you have any guesses as to what is a penguin then? What group of animals do you think this belongs to? Let's see if we can figure out the last thing together as to what is another thing that penguins have or do that may make them a little bit more obvious as to what they are. Do any of you know how a penguin is born? How do you think a penguin may be born? Or if you have any guesses already as to what group of animals a penguin belongs to, what does that group of animals do? Have you ever seen a female penguin with a huge belly carrying its baby in the huge belly? No, right? So penguins are actually going to be laying eggs. And look at this cute picture. I love this picture, friends, because you can see here's a Magellanic penguin that lives here at the aquarium, and you can see it's an egg right there that it's keeping really nice and warm. And look at when we shine a light on the egg, we can see that little light, and it shows this little baby that's in there. So they are laying eggs. I also see someone just said in that penguins have flippers for swimming. So yeah, friends, even though penguins can't fly with those wings, they are still going to use the wings to swim. I like saying that they fly underwater because they are super, super strong and excellent swimmers. And this is such a great picture, actually, of these penguins just using those wings. But okay, so to get back to our list, so far, we definitely know they have wings. We said that they have feathers. You can see some of those feathers all over their body. Well, not some. You can see all of those feathers. And we know that penguins lay eggs. Oh, actually, let's just change that to lay. Let me rewrite that for us. So in case you're making a list too. So feathers, wings, lay eggs. What animal, what group of animals does this sound like? I have a feeling a lot of you may have a guess who are watching today. And let's shout it out on 3. So 1, 2, 3. They're a bird. So penguins are a type of bird. So look at these different birds. Because look at this bird. This bird also has wings. It also has feathers covering all of its body, which are super, super important. And it's also going to be laying eggs. So even though penguins don't do some things that other birds do, they do still belong to that group of animals. And I always just like talking about what makes a bird as well, since those are going to be the three things. There are other birds that can't fly as well, like ostriches and stuff, but they are still a type of bird. They've just adapted to using those underdeveloped wings in different ways. Ooh, okay. So yeah, someone just mentioned that an ostrich is another bird that doesn't fly. So exactly, friends. Ooh, this is another very fun bird here at the aquarium. It's a lorikeet. So look at all these beautiful, colorful feathers. Its wings, and then they're also going to be laying little eggs. But lots and lots of fun so far, friends, that we've been able to figure that out. But now I want to take a minute to talk more about these Magellanic penguins that live here at the aquarium, because these Magellanic penguins that live here at the aquarium are going to be spending their time and their lives a little bit differently than other penguins that will be living out within those natural habitats. So when we were looking at that exhibit, and we'll pull that exhibit back up right now, and we were looking at where they live, what did you notice? Is there anything that stood out to you? Anything that's surprising? Even in this picture right here, while we get that video up, what do you notice about its surroundings? There's lots of dirt. There looks like some twigs and some bushes and everything. Interesting. So we're seeing lots of kind of drier things. We are doing our best. Well, Amanda's doing our best for all of us to be able to get a good view at that habitat. So just 1 second, friends. And you might already know where these Magellanic penguins live. I will tell you, Magellanic penguins love the sun. And I can very much relate to Magellanic penguins and liking sunlight and staying nice and warm and everything. Ooh, okay. And someone just texted in that it looks like the penguins live in a marshy area. And I can definitely see that with all the dirt all around and those twigs and everything. Ooh, and now see, we're here back at their exhibit. So we see the penguins swimming around, but let's ignore them for a second. I know it's hard, but what do you notice about where they are? So we can see the water right here, but what about this area up here? It's pretty rocky, right? And we can see some of the sunlight. That's the yellow lighting you see in here is that sunlight shining on down. So there's no snow and there's no ice because Magellanic penguins actually live in places like Chile and Argentina and on these beautiful beaches just like this. So you can see this massive, massive penguin gathering right here. But this is where these penguins live, right by the ocean on these sandy, rocky areas out and within their natural habitats. So I know sometimes when we think about penguins, we think about penguins living in the cold or living in snowy places. But that's not true for all penguins, especially these Magellanic penguins. They like the sun, they like warmer climates and warmer temperatures. So that's why when we were looking at their exhibit is definitely designed to mimic that, especially since we are here in Southern California. We are a very, very great temperature to be able to have these penguins here. So this water is kept at that nice temperature that they like, which I want to say is around 60 degrees. Then we have this rocky area over here, and we have even more rocks that sometimes they'll hang up on top of. So that is part of where the penguins are going to be living while they spend their time here. Another thing that penguins will be experiencing here at the aquarium is that they don't have to hunt for their food. They are very, very spoiled. So we do have feedings for them here. So one of our aviculturists, so one of our bird specialists, will go inside of the exhibit 2 to 3 times a day, and they'll have a nice bucket of fish. So our penguins here at the aquarium are eating different types of fish like capelin and herring. Sometimes they'll have the occasional squid, but most of the time they'll be having those fish, that capelin and that herring. And depending on the penguin, sometimes they'll eat 3 fish. Other times there's some penguins that will eat up to 15 to 20 fish. I know one of our penguins right now is kind of chonky, so he's on a little bit of a diet, just like that he stays on a really nice, healthy weight. But they will go up. They'll leave the water. They'll go up to the little beach area we have, and then our aviculturists are able to see this is so and so. So we have a few different penguin names in case you hear me throw out different names. But we have a penguin named Admiral Fancy Pants. We call him Admiral for short. But she'll be like, well, Admiral just ate 3 fish, and then YOLO Gats just ate 2. This is actually Admiral Fancy Pants. You can see his little tummy right there. But so they'll get fed within those beach areas. And I know I just mentioned that our aviculturists are able to look at them and say who is being fed. But for people like me here at the aquarium, even though I work here, I work in our education department. So if I were to look at our penguins, I would not be able to tell who is who. But fortunately, there is one identification thing I want to point out to you that we have, which are their little bracelets. So they have different colored beads. So you can see blue, white, and green. Ooh, and this is a great zoom in Amanda just did. So you can see these little bracelets right here. And that's how we know who is who. So if you visit the aquarium, you can see these little bracelets, and then we have a sign with all their different colors and names, and you can match up who is who. But since the aviculturists work with them so much, they know who they are from the different coloration on their face, the little spots on their feet, and on their bellies. It's very, very unique to whatever penguin it is. It's kind of like our fingerprint. We all have our own unique fingerprints, and penguins are the same way with these colors and all these spots and patterns they have all over their body. And being able to keep track of them is definitely very important, like that we know who is eating how much, who is eating too much, who may need to be eating a little bit more. But it's also really important during specific times of the year when our penguins get their checkups. So just like me and you should be going to the doctor at least once a year, penguins do the same thing. I am guilty of not going to the doctor every single year. But our penguins are definitely not guilty because we make sure that they get their physical checkups. And what do you think a penguin checkup looks like? What do you think happens there? It's also very, very fun when we have new baby chicks here at the aquarium for their first checkup. So this is our one of our chicks' first checkups. I'm not too sure what chick this is, but this is one. So after 2, I want to say, or 4 months, once our baby chicks are ready, they'll go to our Melina Animal Care Center here at the aquarium, which is kind of like our veterinary site that we have on site here at the aquarium, and they'll get that checkup. So what are some different things you think happen within these checkups? So we're going to be checking their weight. So we'll see how much they weigh. And I do want to mention penguins are heftier than other birds out in there that would be out within those natural habitats because penguins don't fly. So they don't have to worry about being really nice and light. There are some birds that fly that weigh about less than a pound, or they weigh 2 or 3 pounds. They have hollow bones, so they don't have dense bones like we do as humans. So like that, they can fly and not have to worry about it. But since penguins don't fly, they can be a little bit chonky and still be okay since they're just going to be swimming all around and everything like that. So we'll weigh our penguins. The aviculturists will also just feel all over their bodies, and our veterinary staff will make sure everything just is developing really, really nicely, especially with their wings right here. I'm going to kind of throw a curveball at my friend Amanda because we know we have kind of a silly picture of our penguin chick. And our penguin chick during the checkup kind of looks like this, and it hasn't grown into those wings. So we'll see if we can take a look at that.
Someone says that they do vital checks, they get weighed and blood draws.
Yeah, so someone just sent in that they check their vitals, which absolutely, friends, that will be one very big thing. We want to make sure these penguins, once again, are just really nice and healthy. That heartbeat and everything is really, really nice. And I know my friend Sarah also mentioned that someone else sent in that they do blood draws. So we do blood draws. So like that, we can make sure that the penguin isn't sick, it doesn't have any diseases or anything like that. This is the picture I was talking about, though, friends, that I think this is adorable because I don't know. I've never seen a penguin kind of stand like this. So it gives you a good idea as to why these checkups are so important. Because this is part of their development. So you can see the penguin hasn't fully grown into its wings or really the rest of its body. It's just kind of like, hello, I'm a penguin. But it's not old enough yet. So these checkups are really important just to make sure that the development is taking place. And like I know we mentioned where vitals and blood draws will happen. If they need any shots, they'll get their shots during this time. We'll make sure that their feet are looking really nice because penguins are susceptible to getting different diseases and stuff if their feet aren't carefully washed over and everything. Some of the penguins that we have here at the aquarium, actually, those Magellanic penguins, were rescues. And they were rescues because they went off course from their regular migration route. And because of that, some of them actually got bumblefoot. So if you've never heard of bumblefoot, it's when penguin feet can get really swollen. They can get different kind of like cysts and pimples. And it's just not a good situation for them at all. Because once they get it once, there is no cure for it. What we've been working here at the aquarium is we've been working with one of those penguins really closely, and we've noticed that if we feed her in the water, if we don't make her go on the rocky area as much, she has been doing a lot better. So there are different kind of studies going on with that, but that is part of the reason why penguin feet are so important. And just look at these penguin chicks' feet. This one, I do want to clarify, does not have that. But that's why these checkups are super, super important, apart from being super adorable with all these pictures and everything. But that's kind of what it looks like being here at the aquarium as a Magellanic penguin. That is the only penguin that we have here. But there are so many other penguins out in the world. So I want to look at a colder weather penguin. I want to look at some emperor penguins. So they're going to be passing their time a little bit differently where these penguins are living. So I want you to make some observations. What do you notice about these penguins? Where are they living? What are they doing? I'll give you a couple of seconds to do that. And if you want, you can always text us in any of those observations or thoughts. I know we've been getting some text in, so I definitely invite you to keep sharing those observations with us. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Okay. Amanda is telling me that she has a close-up of a cute penguin, so we're going to take a brief intermission from these observations so we can look at this cute picture. Because we can also just look at adorable penguins. So yeah, this is one of our Magellanic penguins that lives here at the aquarium. But you can see, it's just hanging out on the rocks. It's just standing there. So they are very, very cute. And this is what they'll do a lot of the time if they're not in the water. They'll hang out on land. Sometimes on special days, they'll take out like their bubble machine for them. And they love bubbles because they're shiny. They also have different toys like dog toys and stuff. Those are pretty sturdy for penguins. So they have a very, very cool life here at the aquarium. And so do other penguins within those natural habitats. But you definitely won't see a bubble machine out with those emperor penguins within their natural habitats. You may have noticed too, what's all this stuff all around on the ground? They're going to be living in snowy habitats. So these snowy areas, so their feathers for them are really important. What did you notice about the emperor penguins themselves? So we have some tall ones. You can see that black coloration, the white, some yellow and orange. What about these smaller ones right here? They're Ooh, okay. Someone says that it looks like they're socializing. It does, right? But look at these smaller ones right here. They look white and gray and black. I do want to say these smaller ones right here are baby emperor chicks. So they're not fully grown yet, but eventually they will look like the adults. Just right now, when they're smaller, the little babies or chicks, they just look like stuffed animals to me. They look so fluffy that if I could, I would hug an emperor chick. I know, not okay, friends. Maybe a problematic opinion, but I truly would because they look so, so soft. But as they get older, that coloration, their feathers, their size will definitely measure up to be to what an emperor penguin is. The emperor penguin is the largest penguin out of those penguin species. They measure to be around 4 feet to 5. So to give you an idea, an emperor penguin would reach me probably like up to here. So they are pretty tall. And depending how tall you are, an emperor penguin might be taller than you, which I always think is something really fun to think about. They are also very, very hefty. They are chunky penguins. They can weigh anywhere from around 70 to 90 pounds. So that might be exactly what you weigh. To me, I think of one of my friends and she weighs 90 pounds, and I cannot even fathom a penguin weighing that much. So that is definitely very, very cool. But I do agree, friends. I know that someone sent in that they looked like they were socializing, and I love that comment because it does look like these penguins are all just kind of hanging out, right? And they're talking. It looks like this one is looking at this adult penguin, like hello. So I think that's really, really fun. With these penguins is that they will stick in these different groups, especially with the adults and the babies until they're ready to kind of go on their own. Another really fun thing that I learned about not too long ago that emperor penguins will do is these areas where they live in are really, really cold, especially when there's high winds and everything like that. It can get to be around negative 60 Fahrenheit. So that's very, very cold weather. So what these penguins will do in these groups is that they'll all huddle up together to stay warm. And then the penguins that are on the outside will eventually rotate with the penguins that are inside. And then they'll go back outside and back inside so everyone can take turns staying warm. It's like a big penguin group hug. And I thought that was adorable when I learned about it. But that is one of the many adaptations that different penguins will have. We were talking about how those Magellanic penguins live in warmer areas. But these emperor penguins live in colder areas, so they do have to adapt in order to survive. So those little group hugs can really, really help them. But I do want to mention to you that these penguins are super, super incredible because during some of the winter months, during those harsh months, they'll actually live on the open ice. So they'll spend their time on the open ice, and some of these penguins will even breed during those seasons. So imagine if we, for one day, were to even camp out on the open ice with the strong cold winds, it'd be negative 60. There's just no way. That's not happening. And we would not be able to do that. But these penguins actually do that. And sometimes they'll even lay eggs during those times. And so they'll have their eggs. And then what will happen after they have their eggs is that the female penguin will leave that egg with the male penguin, and it's like, goodbye, I'm going to leave and find some food. So the female penguin can leave for up to 2 to 3 months. They'll go out into the open ocean. Sometimes they'll travel up to around 30 to 50 miles. So it's a lot going on during these winter months, and they'll go and they'll eat different types of squid, krill, shrimp, things like that. So like that, after that mom penguin is gone for 2 months and it comes back, its little baby penguin has hatched. And then it has all this food it has saved and it regurgitates, so it throws that food back up to feed that baby penguin. And then that's when dad penguin, who had been staying and keeping that egg warm, is like, goodbye now, I will leave to go find some food. So this is why these emperor penguins are so, so interesting. And scientists are learning so much about them because of this very cool lifestyle that they have and how they are able to survive in regions like this who do have changing weather, they have harsh weather and everything like that. So penguins, friends, is an understatement that they are very, very cool. This is another type of penguin. These are Gentoo penguins that also live in these snowy areas. And they will hang out in groups. A lot of these penguins will be pretty social with one another. There are some penguins that can be a little bit shy, but a lot of them will definitely be social. And that's so you can even hear their different vocalizations. Sometimes they have different ways to talk with one another. But with that all being said, Penguin Party, I want to say thank you so much today for joining me. We were able to learn about penguins like our Magellanic penguins that live here at the aquarium versus some other penguins that don't live here at the aquarium and some of those natural habitats and those different challenges that they face, but they're still able to adapt and survive, which is super, super cool. But I'm going to leave you with this very cute video of our penguins waddling around and swimming around. And remember, if you have any last questions, feel free to send in those questions to our email, which is live@lbaop.org. Our Winters Kids Club will be going on for the rest of the week, and we'll actually have a program at 11, which will be on some blubbery animals. But I'll let you tune in so you can find out what blubbery animals. But once again, friends, thank you so much and have a good rest of your day. Bye!
Here's one of our first chicks raised, and we hand raised him from egg. Alright, Patsy, herring, vitamin.